Revolutionary greetings to the young people of Zimbabwe. Welcome to the first police circle by the MDC Youth Assembly. My name is Joanna Mamombe. I am an MP for Harare West constituency. I'm also the Secretary for Police and Research in the MDC Youth Assembly. On the 21st of January, President Nelson Chamisa articulated the Agenda 2020 in Mbare at Stoddart Hall. Today, we have the MDC Youth Assembly who are going to unpack the Agenda 2020. What does it mean to a young person? And how can a young person participate in Agenda 2020? I am going to be joined by the following. The commander himself, Comrade Obey, Tererai Stole, Comrade Luther. Also, we have the Secretary General of the MDC Youth Assembly, Comrade Brother Ostalos. I'll also be joined by the second in command, Comrade Cecilia Chimbiri. And lastly, but not least, I will be joined by Comrade Wombe, who is the Deputy Spokesperson of the MDC Youth Assembly, to articulate the Agenda 2020. So we are going to focus on the 5 fights that were articulated by our President. Number 1, Comrade Ostalos. What does it mean? The first fight. And what does it mean to a young person? Can you take us through the first fight by the President of Zimbabwe?
Thank you very much, fellow countrymen. The position of the MDC is very clear. As the young people, our first fight for the establishment of a democratic society is the fight for people's government. Zimbabwe suffers from a unique crisis of the collapse of the social contract. Those who govern are not trusted by the governors. The governors do not trust those that are being governed. So the total collapse of the social contract means that we don't have a government for the people, by the people, of the people. And as the MDC Youth Assembly, our position is that young people across the 4 corners of our country must reconvene and open the future whom the president is holding in suffocation. In the way forward for this establishment of a people's government is the establishment of a democratic developmental state anchored on a socially just economy. Zimbabwe suffered for so long under authoritarian tutelage. The vicious, violent elections have not rendered a democratic dispensation in this country. And we as the young people are committed to surrender ourselves before we surrender the democratic agenda, so that we establish a good society for the betterment of our society and the future of our children. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ostalos, for articulating the issue of the people's government. We are moving on to number 2. Comrade Obey, the commander himself, take us through the fight number 2.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mamombe. The fight number 2, as espoused in Agenda 2020, is the fight for a better life and dignity. You might know, as the Zimbabweans, that currently we are suffering due to a number of challenges. If you look into the issues of jobs, there's high unemployment. If you focus into the health sector, it is poor and deteriorating with each day. If you focus into the education sector, again the challenges are the same. The tuition fees have become satanic, diabolic and exorbitant beyond the reach of men. You might also want to realize that most of the people who have children in school are teachers, civil servants in general, who in most cases are being remunerated with peanuts. They cannot balance the demands of the exorbitant tuition fees and what they get as their salaries. Given those realities, you will realize that indeed we are confronted with a serious challenge where our dignity has been questioned, where our livelihoods have been challenged. As a result of that, we need to unite, especially the young people. We are the ones who demand and deserve jobs. We are the ones who still demand and deserve education. We are the ones who need to have lives saved. So we need a proper health care. There are some diseases that are claiming people that are avoidable, but because of a poor state of health care in Zimbabwe, people are dying due to ailments that can be saved. Given that reality, the way forward is very clear. As the young people, we must stand up clear and resolute to ensure that we deal with the challenge that we are facing. And as alluded earlier on, the challenges are emanating from the lack of legitimacy in the people who claim to be a government today. We need to be dealing with the legitimacy of Emmerson Mnangagwa by ensuring that ED must go, with or without fail, and using all means unnecessary and necessary to ensure that Emmerson Mnangagwa's cabal are removed from power.
The commander himself has spoken. ED must go. Let's move on to the third fight, the end to corruption. Comrade 2IC, please walk us through the end to corruption.
I'm calling upon a coalition of the concerned in this country, Zimbabwe, so that we fight together the cancer that is eating through our economic gains, which is called corruption. The government, we have lost trust in it because of their corruption activities. in the mining sector, in the pharmaceuticals, in the government departments. Even corruption is affecting service delivery. Corruption undermines the social contract, and we have lost trust in the government because of corruption. What do we need to do as the Zimbabweans? We need to come together and fight this corruption, because if we don't fight corruption, we, the majority, are always going to suffer. We need to have a zero tolerance on corruption. We need to make sure that we appoint independent commissions. We need to make sure that we effect citizen arrest and almost close all companies that are participating in the corrupt activity. If we don't come together to fight corruption, we will all be dead with this cancer. So I'm calling upon all young people to make sure that we take the issue of corruption seriously, which is our third fight to fight against corruption.
Thank you very much, 2IC, for articulating the end to corruption. We don't accept that ED appoints corruption. We don't accept that as the MDC Youth Assembly. Thank you very much for taking us through the fourth fight, which is the fight of freedoms, human rights, and liberty. Comrade Womberai Nyenje, the deputy spokesperson, will take us through that fight.
Thank you very much, Honorable Salutations, the young people of Zimbabwe, the greater people of Zimbabwe. In post-colonial Zimbabwe, there has been a spate of gross human rights violations that has been perpetrated by the government through the abuse of power that has been amassed in absolute power in quantities, and people that have been abusing everyone. There have not been rights of people have not been deemed necessary in this struggle. The people's safety has also not been taken seriously. The people's struggles in terms of asking for democratic spaces have also been thwarted. This has been done by the government itself, using the military, using all forms of the government machinery in order to thwart upon the people's freedoms. So as the young people of Zimbabwe, we need to confront the situation. We need to ensure that there is rule of law, because there has been rule by law. The government has been penning down laws that are meant to thwart upon the democratization of this nation. And this struggle has been led, we want to punctuate it through the able leadership of Advocate Nelson Chamisa. And in 2017, there was a change in government once Mugabe was going, but Mugabe has put in an institutionalized system of hegemonical cohesion, which has now been taken forward under the leadership of Emerson Mnangagwa. And in Shona, we say that hakuna bura rinotasanukira mufimbi inorabva mumbuti rakaminama. Mnangagwa is coming from the very same system, and is coming with those ideas that he was taught by Mugabe, and has perpetrated them beyond even in his reign, up to date. So as the young people of Zimbabwe, we need to confront Emerson Mnangagwa, we need to confront the government, we need to confront all the institutions that are being used. We need to confront the police that are being used for political issues. We need to confront every system that is not in line with the rule of law and the things that are thwarting the people's freedom in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our leadership in the MDC Youth Assembly. The last fight that I will talk about is the issue of upholding the Constitution and constitutionalism. This is why, as the MDC, we are in Parliament. The reason why we are in Parliament is to protect and uphold the Constitution. Instead of implementing the Constitution, already the ED regime is amending the Constitution. And as the MDC, we don't accept that. As the MDC Youth Assembly, we're going to fight the ED regime for not implementing the Constitution and only amending it. So we are encouraging all the young people out there to participate every time where there is amendment of the law, to participate where there is issues to do with our Constitution. All these things that have been said cannot happen if we can't uphold our Constitution. Therefore, as the MDC Youth Assembly, we are saying in this policy circle, ED must go. ED must go. Thank you very much for joining us today on our policy circle. I am your host, Comrade Joanna Mamombe.